Well, there are some forces that didn't want me to record that. We don't comply with what they want, because the traitors are the rapists, and if rapists for those who read Bible, the word honest, rape is coercion. It's not just sexual. There's a reason why one of the greatest antidotes to 2030 is I do not consent. Because they try to get you to consent or to say, first of all of their contracts are not valid. You cannot contract a person to do something again to harm themselves. It's invalid contract. It's inversion of contract. Now I'm putting tea tree on my nails. So we talked about the tea tree, and we said everybody tells you for tea tree is antifungal, it is that, it's true. First of all, you want diversity, and as I'm tending to myself, then I'm doing this exercise with you. If you have a toenail fungi, if you have athlete foot, if you have something in teeth you want to fix, something you need to tend to daily, feel free to join me, okay? And say, decultify my toenails, decultify my skin, decultify my toenails with me, okay? And denucleify the toenails with me, so they wouldn't radiate. I'm joking. And so you can do this with me. And as I'm doing that, it's not just to put the oil, I pay attention what comes up. So first of all, for the tea tree, you said is antifungal. It's a tree, right? A small tree. But the thing is, we need a couple of things. Many essential oils, I think all of them nearly are antifungal. Palmarosa is even more antifungal than geranium. Now, there are different ways I have to go through this again, for the different ways that they break. Some break the membrane, some disintegrate this, some disintegrate that, prevent the fungi to grow. You also, it sounds controversial, but if you take it 1 drop in a spoon of good oil, then you also take internally, because you work internally, also what you put inside the body, not from the outside. And I'm drinking tea with spirulina, green tea with spirulina, and some chamomile. Now I love to feel the effect of the oil. It immediately gets to the nervous system. There's something very, I would say it's very sexy about you put that oil for your fingernails, and it's underneath the fingernail, penetrate the fingernail, and it does something plutonian there with the core essence, and you feel it in the nervous system. I won't say it's orgasmic, but it's something that it releases. I feel this is releasing something from my third eye. Very pleasurable. It's something atomic is being released. And then this is, you feel sometimes you feel like you want to bombard for the area with essential oil. It's okay, just make sure you dilute well, so you're not going to overwhelm the skin around the fungi. But this is something very powerful, very strong. I don't feel I have to. I don't have to. Want to. For another one. There's something very clean. I'm also on my moon days, which is excellent for detoxing. It's basically excretion, right? Blood with excretion. Yes, I see that tea tree is almost done. Powerful oil. Powerful energy. Just tea trees. Very simple, very accessible. Now I said I like, because I'm fancy, some people would blend a couple of oils and sell you the blend and you put it. Now it's not bad, it's good because it's a combination of things. But you want to have a good balance between fixity and diversity. A good cows has good balance of fixity and diversity. The threshold, you go to fixity, it's dynamic balance. I want to restore that dynamic balance. You want to create movement, but also grounding. You want to create randomness, or allow randomness, because allowed choice is allowed in randomness. You need some determinism and some choice. Okay? I swim very easily in these. For some people it's difficult to understand chaos. I have 12th house Aquarius, so whenever I'm in my bedroom, like right now, then this location, the nervous system, I understand chaos very well. Unfortunately, to try to be in the bedroom with me is very chaotic. Then people get thrown off dynamic balance if they are too rigid or if they are too chaotic. So it makes it very difficult for me to find a bed partner. It's true. When you have the ruler of the 12th in the 9th, then it becomes your teaching. But this is what I got, this chaotic. By the way, to balance my mental state, I had a good friend that was Aquarius. And Sun and Saturn in my 12th house. And I was depressed because I was trying some pills that were for the menstruation. I didn't know that the menstruation issues that I had were added by the Mason guy that I worked as a TA for. That was ici de nouveau. I had no idea they do witchcraft on the bodies of women for the malefic things, but they also do witchcraft on each other. They curse each other. You see, I cannot say misogyny because, yes, they deplete yin, but they treat each other that way. Okay? It's like, what can you say? They treat each other, they curse each other, they betray each other. It's like, okay, it's not good society for me. He was very inclusive. He was cursing me and so on. I cannot complain it's not being inclusive, but that's what the society. So, for my bestie, I got this. They were supposed to hold the menstruation for 3 months. I take 1 pill, 2 pill, and I tell him I want to jump from Azrieli, which I want to jump from one of the tallest buildings in Israel. They said, well, come here. He begins to teach me chaos theory, and I begin to feel better. Of course, I threw out this, what was this, birth control thingies. Eventually, I would let go of being a TA. Now, what happens when you do that? Look at the transformation to the voice. I'm going to put some tea tree, diluted, of course. And around my neck, let's see what happens. This is another technique. And it's good to rub the vagus nerves behind the ears, around the neck, if you don't like smell of tea tree oil. You can try geranium, palmarosa, or some other form of tree. Anyway, Yeah. What happens when you let go of a job where it's someone a mason? In those places, also moved, so you throw away everything that you no longer need. So what they feel that they're thrown with the trash. It's not the point. The point is I create rejuvenation in my life. But the thing is that it forces them to confront the taboo of their secret societies. Everything that makes them feel belonging makes me feel secluded. See this as a conversation. And you cannot talk with a person because they try to control the technique for there is like the intelligence is always try to control the conversation. My lungs get okay, I need to, that's a good idea to put some oil on my lungs as well, because that harms the lungs. I had a virus when I was working for Datido. There was some invisible virus. Later I would find out, I think it was mononucleosis. I don't know where I got it. But did you know you can heal from that? It touches on the nervous system. It can cause cancer, by the way, as well. And I was sick, but then I noticed when I begin to speak, I feel better. So all these lawyers are there that represent pedos. Put some tea tree oil on your athlete foot that I know you have. It's not by channeling. You can't be wearing Nikes, going to the gym and not have athlete foot. Okay, you have to separate the toes. Anyways. I'm learning this right now. I didn't separate my toes for like 40 years. Or 39, I don't know. Yeah, not enough tea tree oil. I like this tea tree oil. Now I need to find something, because earlier I worked with patchouli. Now the tea tree was calling me. And you want to pay attention now. If you have toenail fungi or athlete foot, you want to pay attention. First of all, are your toes aligned? Do they get enough space? The dryness, of course, if they are always in a damp or something like that. Also, when you put oils, make sure you also keep the place dry. Separate your toes. This is about the blood flow, because what is stagnant here is the blood flow to your nail. Okay? I said what I said. I cannot make this up. Why is it stagnant? You want to pay attention. What nail is it? When I began to work with the pinky of the toes, I began to channel. And then it's like I was initiated, but I never consented to initiate. And I don't know what you're initiating to, so try to show me tree of life, tree of death, tree of that. They try to get me to consent to be in this dumb fuckery called intelligence. And I'm like, and I'm trying to adapt the system, because I'm like, it's a time channeling experiment. So it's an operative system. You know what? I need a cypress tree oil. I need the Pluto oil. Yes, I need a Pluto oil. As this eucalyptus means the uppers. I need something that from the cortex that well, my Pluto is not ready yet. Yes, there is a Pluto here, but it's not yet ready yet. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll go to the property. Let's see what other oils are there. It should be cistus. Cistus would do me well right now. Strong cistus, but I don't have it here. I have something with cistus. Cistus is this glass ceiling breaker. And it's also oil that you put on the feet of children when they are born. Yeah, it's a combination of cistus and lotus. It's quite diluted, but I'll try it anyway. I like it when it's almost undiluted, and you feel the very strong transformation that's happening. You think about the fact that the blood doesn't flow to your nails well. If I think about curating this in myself, I think about being around places where the blood flows well to all the fingernails and toenails. And Pluto is cold here. There can be certain cold, okay, that is an asad. When I was first channeling, then they tried to channel for the cold, and I tried to adapt the system, because you channel something, it's like an operative system, and I try to adjust it. You don't speak to me like that, but this and that, and this and that, and get the information correct. So like this, the way to me is different. You have to change the masonry. What can I do? I never consented to be of a satanic cult or any such thing. You can hear what you have to say, but if it's inverted, you have to flip it back. And then for the second toenail, which was the first one I noticed, was the second toenail. And that was, I was putting manuka oil. My neighbor, she couldn't stand it. She couldn't stand this oil. I had to sit away from her. And the neighbor that lived in our building, she said, but this is for her health. Okay, so I had to, when I had to do it every day, 3 times a day. That already put space between us. Okay. I think about Maya. There's my friend that had father very likely in the Masons. And she was like, why then? She didn't say it so much, but she was like, why don't you litigate? And I was like, it's a cult, when in cult. And I couldn't talk about like the energy things and all these things. Eventually, when I did talk about the Masons, she was like, she blocked me. She cannot stand essential oils. I'm not saying there's a pattern here, but my mom is very interesting. I see second oil is relational. You see, immediately I talk about the women in my life. It's moon. And but sometimes she cannot stand the smell of oils, but sometimes she loves exactly for the smell of some oils that I do. So it's very specific. Can't stand all of the smells, just some. Okay. My bestie had no problem with the smells, but he was psychically attacked very malefically, and then I had to flee him. But then he had problems with women channeling. He was taught by religion and so on. Like, okay, we'll have religious problems in the house with the person that the way he would do Shabbat dinner, it was like beginning the prayer, and then he said v'chulei v'chulei, said so on and so forth, and that's it. So that's something you can get along with. But when they get more religious, is, again, it depends. If the religion was not patriarchal, it would not be a problem. God is lovely. But when they get the inversion of religion, when they learn Baal and they call it Judaism, then mak problem. And that was the relational. And now, ladies and gents, drum roll, I'm in the middle two. It's a fire element, and I call it the just do it. I got the Nikes. They get the V from Israel. VX. If you win, you lose. It's like, when you think about people that see in relations, to say, oh, that man was was loser. He married her, or he went with her. And now, if it's bad relationship, then indeed he needs to rehabilitate it. But that woman was loser. Or that. But what they usually mean by that man was rapist. So they say that woman was loser. The fire element is on. Now for the V, put the code, saw it in Israel. There's the V and there's the X. If you win, you lose. X, you're erased. All these folks walking with the Nikes, all that V. Okay, and you see it globally. Greenpeace, Nikes, holding the Nikes with the V shape. Rosy. But for those who hold that V, I advise you to distance yourself from the V, because the V means you're going to get X'd. Now the X guy is Elon. Those who play winners and losers, how does the chessboard goes for the Masons? Right? You see the chessboard and you see both the white and the black wiped out. Now, if you participated in the division, in the divide and conquer, you will be X'd. If you profited from that, you will also be X'd. And this is the fire element. It's the action, the just do it. The taking action. Now I'm removing the fungal infection from my way, from my actions, from being in any way that aligns with this VX stuff. Decultify that. Now you see what happens. You basically renew the blood flow to this area. Immediately I look at the garlic here that needs to be planted. Needs to be planted. But tomorrow I'll take care of it, or today. And when you work on the nail, work on the finger. How is the toe separated? Is it crunched up? Because if it is, where do you need to align it more, for the upstairs, for the downstairs? It's a good time to even record yourself like me. We can have a movement, do it by feet. Denucleafication. This is going to be the denucleafication mini-series of Do It By Feet series. You see, when you work your way through that, it is about fire element. Think what we have: fire, we have Mars, and we have Sun. To be able to shine as you are confidently, assert yourself, assert your boundaries. Now, if you are shining as you are, assert yourself, assert your boundaries, and this is about, how should I say it? Depriving people of their visibility, their shine, ability to assert themselves. regardless of gender, then you're a loser. Very simply put, you lose blood flow. Now, if that was done to you and you didn't stand up for yourself, okay, that can be a practice of transforming that to standing up for yourself. Shining as you are. If there is a cult in the way, then you will see. You want to pay attention to synastries with Pluto aspects to yours. When I was working on the relational, I was drawing in a person that had moon, his Pluto squaring, or my moon applying to square his Pluto. Very tough aspect. It had to do with motherlands, mothering, caring, caregiving, housing. And it's crisis, okay? Housing crisis. You have to deal with that on a global level. Pluto is all the world. Because I tended to that on a global level, then somehow that was somehow mitigated. And attended to the toenail fungi in my relation, the second toe. And I was going through a transit that was accentuated on my Pluto-Mercury opposition. Mercury also rules my housing. That was my pinky toe, was my channeling. That had to do, they tried to initiate me to the Masons, but the Masons need to be transformed. Now my pinky toe is almost fantastic, the second toe almost fantastic, and I'm working on the fire element. There's a chart around that has his Pluto opposing my sun. And that person was cancelled, by the way. It's a generational. Pluto's generational. You don't need chart. You need around the years. You know, there's more or less opposing my sun. Cases of people that get paranoid that I know. I don't seek out information that doesn't arrive to me. But now it's about shining and decultifying for the shine part. So a lot of people got cancelled because of that. Like, dude, if you silence women, try to recover and heal from sexual violence, of course you're going to get cancelled somewhere. Okay, it's also standing up for against whether you have people have hatred or okay, don't let you be. And my sun is in the decan of will and consent of Taurus. What can I do? This is why you hear me talking about this a lot, and how the cult needs to decultify itself when it comes to will and consent. So otherwise people will not enjoy life. They will not have success that they are fulfilled by. You know, if your success is not somebody else's failure. Go to the shipping fleet is a great example. The shipping companies. When me and my mom were returning, attempted to celebrate Christmas in Europe with the car, very challenging. We came back, wanted to take ferry back to Israel, and we go to one company. They say by us is we don't have it's too dangerous, but let's call for our the next door they had the other company. I was like, why aren't you competing each other? It's like, no. We're colleagues, we work together. This is way better way to do business. And better wealth. See, I feel it's not around my neck, it is if my back aligns and that supports the neck, that supports the chest. You see, but with Pluto Soul, you have to be able to allow for the other person to shine. You can't hold hatred to their shine. And definitely not to silence for the other person. If you're around my timeline and you're part of this toenail fungi, maybe the Nike thingy, then it's about evolving towards a willing consent. And it's very detrimental when it's not so, because Pluto creates crisis here. And you see, you deal with that not on a personal level, you deal with that on a global level. Globally, it's a problem for the cult that people will shine as they are. Even celebrities, why they're all MK Ultras? All mind controlled. Celebrity is the most solar thing, right? You try to do your thing, it's not about man or woman. Try to do your thing in the world, you're attacked. And sometimes person supports you the most, you can't stand to see their shine. Now you have to work within. There's all these shoe trends right now with Nikes. They don't allow you to separate the toes. They need to change the structure. There's nothing wrong with Nike if they worked on their shoes to change the structure so that people will be able to shine and spread their toes and step feet on the ground. Not as a brand name, but they took what did Nikes do? They took the head of the company down. Now you could see there that, oh, it's the guillotine, the decentralization. No, it's nothing. They become this global mindfuckery global corporation with the digital, and they lost in sales a lot. This is why they have such campaign. All the influencers, they try to put it on all the influencers of MK Ultra. Because they try to control for the solar. Now would be a good time to see if that person that they took down, what does he have to say? He probably knows a lot, right? Of what's going on globally under the masquerade of taking down the royalty, because it's what they're taking down is royalties. I said what I said. If you think about, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. If you think about, let's say you write a book or you have an album, and the way that they categorize the book can affect royalties, I don't know. You want to check that. You see, AI is one way to take down royalties, because all of you deserve royalties for AI. Do you know that? When money changes, money doesn't change hands, money doesn't change hands. But you know, when I posted our beat drops the cult and the beat gets low, okay, money doesn't change hands. I could do a cover. Money doesn't change hands. If I wanted to use it as a sample, it would be a different thing. Okay, there would be a ton of diversity of people that I think some of them may or may not be listed even, that I would have to allocate royalties to, and very gladly. Think about it, you grow like the tree, that's the leaves. But the leaves always have to get nourishment. So they take down the solar figures. Sol, Pluto, hard aspects are hard aspects. Okay. It means that there's issue with shining, being who you are, and control. Now you have to understand, where is just being who you are placing control on people? Okay, for example, if my son is in the deacon of will and consent, it places both on me. Okay? The things that to shine, I can't do. I sense it I can identify that it's true to everyone. I'm more sensitive to that because this is where my son is my shine, is my teaching, is my radiance, it's my glow. So attack against my shine is attack against the will and consent. When I learn to identify it, it's creepy as fuck. But other people around me, it's where your desire meets my Venus. Your desire is lovely, is welcome, as long as you desire to connect. And then what is essence of desire is where you evolve. You evolve to essence of desire. Good balance of work and rest. You basically evolve to orgasm tantrically, basically what it means. It's not a bad thing, but the thing is you evolve there. And evolution with Pluto, okay, for example, I evolve to having enough. I evolve from being the hunger to know things about everything to having enough. This is 0 degree Taurus, okay, 0 degree Scorpio to 0 degree Taurus. I evolve to a giant garden. I evolve to having clean clothes. And I say I'm still in the evolution. Right now my clothes are clean. Because I have a mother that puts them in the washing machine. See, I evolved there. All of that I do while I separate that middle toe from the other toes. So I evolve to having enough, to being more Venusian. Okay? Now that Venus is conjunct Mercury in Aries. Aries is going through. Okay? But this is the decan of Taurus. It's also the lunar mention, is the third lunar mention. I evolve to wish granted. I evolve from watch what you wish for to wish granted. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing bad about having enough, wish granted. You want good love in your life, wish granted. Decultify the dumb fuckery, wish granted. Want to be successful, wish granted. Successful, that means will and consent is tantric success, but absolutely, essence of desire. Now, if you are evolving for the will and consent, you are evolving, first of all, let me calm you down, you're evolving to great, giant success. You're evolving to be successful. Successful, there is, it's a balance around these things, because it's learning, it's a lifelong quest of learning of when to stop to work, when to rest, when to get to work. The many bindings that we have is also, I call it a little bit of a two-spirit decan, because it's a balance in what we call yin and yang. Yin, it's not just the balancing, it's to purify yin and to purify yang. What is your notion of success? What is your notion of yang? Okay, winning is not a Taurian word. Win-win is a Taurian word. Winning is a Mars word, is a Scorpio, it's a very Aries word, but it's not a Taurian word. Win-win. I remember a good example from my teacher, Professor Avi Segal. And he was teacher of international relations. Unfortunately, later he had divorced himself. But when he was teaching us the game theory. And in game theory, there are a couple of games. One of the games is called Battle of the Sexes. And a battle of the sexes may sound like a battle, but it's actually a game of win-win. And the premise, I really hope that people are still taught that, because he was such a good teacher about this. And the premise with battle of the sexes is, in relationships, the game theory is that you want to have a win-win. Between the sexes, we want to have a win-win. Also, if you're gay or something, it doesn't matter. Okay? This is exactly what people have been deprived from the code. That's the wata. That's the natural. And so, what is battle of the sexes? Guy wants to see a soccer game, girl wants to see a rom-com. Okay? Now you have to come to decision. Either you separate and you go to see soccer game, she go to see rom-com, or you decide, I will go with you to your soccer game. I have a story about that. And then you will have to stand with the rom-com. Okay? So I do a little bit for you, and you do a little bit for me. Okay? And so, what happens when women begin to go to soccer game? I had a friend, Maya, she was green. She was Maccabi Haifa. The family, Maccabi, okay? Then, when the players sexually harass women, what happened? She's a diehard fan. That thing don't go. Okay, what happens when I watch, begin to understand, what is this Ajax? What is this? What is this that? What is this labor? What is this? The red is rosy. Why do we have... Okay? But the red in Marxism is rosy. I didn't know that. Okay? Now this is what happened. It's battle of the sexes. Because you take... Okay, if then somebody would see rom-com. You say, what is this dumb fuckery? Why doesn't she go to a man that loves her to begin with?
אין סוריה יותר.
What do you mean no Surya?
יש מיליונים סורים כאלה, ארגוני קבלה, אסד ברם.
Asad has left the arena. Okay, this is bad for Armenic people and for Christian people in Syria and for Babylonian people in Syria. Now I'm recording. So let's hold a... Yes. What? Coffee?
כוסות יש פה?
Yes, there is one.
תביא לך שקית ניילון מהג'אנק
Yes.
כזה?
It's always nice to have an interference of somebody who is absolutely not aware of what you're doing and has something to say about the mess in your room. So my talismans are, let's say my altar is a junkyard and it's very Plutonian. But wait a second, I want to hold a little bit of blessings for Syrian people that are on the run from Syria, which is very difficult. I don't know if they have to go through, and it's not like they can go to Turkey, especially not if they're Armenian, and there's femicide in Turkey. I'm recording, please not now. I know that the situation in Syria has not been lovely to begin with. Taking down Assad means very bad news for the minorities. I'm not saying Assad was a saint, but it means that the minorities in Syria are a genuine risk. So, anybody that can say a prayer for people in Syria, for minorities in Syria, anybody that okay, it's not about Assad, it's about the minorities, okay? He was somehow defendant of the minorities. It's not, the kingdom is not a good type of regime, but neither is having, I'm sorry, a pack of, I'll let Geert Wilders continue the sentence, but he has 27 security, I don't, okay? But it's not, when I was in Netherlands, there was another part of the shelter was asylum from Syria. You see, there's the problem, because with the people that get the asylum, it's not always the minorities. The minorities they find very difficult, and they're at risk. Say for Europe, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter where you come from, you're a refugee. But no, for the organizations it does. So this is very, very, very bad news for minorities in Syria, what's happening right now. Send my prayers. Yeah, that's just my walks around the world. There's no Syria. What do you mean? But Bashar al-Assad ran away. Okay. Yeah. This is very bad news. Unfortunately. The moon is conjuncting Saturn, I know. And this is bad news for the minorities, the religions that are minorities, like the Christians there, the Armenians there, the Babylonians there. Just the diversity of Syria is now a minority. That's the thing. A dictatorship is never a nice thing, but also not oppressing people's religion, origin, gender. I feel like it's useless to say my heart with the people of Syria, because what does it help anybody? And they don't have land roads to escape. It's to say that this is not pretty would be an understatement. It's kind of like what happened to the Palestinians of Gaza. Okay, they tried to go to Egypt, tried to go to Jordan, they had nowhere to go. So now it's happening for the people of Syria. I remember for when they had the resistance, and I don't even sure what resist. Okay, because just everything is resistance there. But there was group for the Syrian, okay, for activists, and then they had to conjoin with the Palestinians because nobody noticed them. At first they said there's no oil and gas, so nobody knows. There's a war on Syria, it's a proxy war on Syria. The way that it has been shaped by the mandate, by the British mandate. It's, by the way, also this Idonevot teacher that unfortunately is now doing Kissinger's job. He's doing the very things that he thought that he should not do. That's the double agent fuckery. And that's the thing with the way they put the countries. It was straight lines, but the population, they put them on purpose. Population that they would have inner fights so that they can take over land again. That's Kissinger. Unfortunately, this Idonevot is a bit replacing Kissinger that I see it. I don't like it at all. You're the guy that taught us about these things and how problematic these things are, then you work as secret agent to do these things. What do you think will happen? You're on a soul. God damn. It's not just to live 200, it's also to live good. With a rosemary. Oh, god damn. Bad news. You see, while we were talking about one thing on interpersonal level between how the cult affects on a global level relationships, ability to shine, okay, we have supposedly taken down of a king that was a tyrant, and there's no argument about the fact that he was a tyrant, and that he was a king, and that he ruled Syria with very, very tough measures, and that he was involved in also people raping people, which is how he lost. The traitor is the rapist. Better per se, Iran, better per se. The same thing I think happened to Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi did such great thing with Libya, but the Viagra rapes, I don't even know where it come from. It come from those dumb fucking records. And very likely Adolf Hitler, same. Okay, had this Eva Braun, but it's not like he was... He held maidens. That's where he got, you know. Traditional family values. I saw an article in Haaretz, horrible newspaper. But the article said old couples that live separately, man lives in his house, woman lives in her house, they have better relational satisfaction. Can I get an I told you so? Can I get an I told you so? I said 2 houses for household, not 1. When I moved out of the house, my relation with my mama slowly began to improve. She began to finally have her space. And I began to finally force on my space. And that wasn't forcing in the beginning. Scorpio is an international language. They're very good at needing space. Anybody lived with a Scorpio, especially the Scorpio, the Sol Pluto hard aspects? You know what I'm talking about. And I'm Taurus, mind you. It's 12 o'clock. But the thing is, when I had muscle cramps, if I have muscle cramps, yeah, I sit the fuck down and put magnesium. But I don't walk around trying to make it force it to go away. And when I say put magnesium, no, I don't know what is this thing. Align your freaking toes. Okay. Sovereignty to a fault. And now is a good time to put on some magnesium. I hope it will be absorbed after the spirulina. So, greeting to Netherlands, the alchemist. Essential oil, they increase the absorption of things that you put in your body. So you put good things, and people try to think bad energy to that, it's still Pluto. So it's going to increase the immune system and discernment. So, right as we speak about Pluto's soul and the challenges it was shining and not to control each other's shine, okay? Not to oppress each other's shine, not to go against each other's shine. And the the fact that if I take it from my vantage point, my son is on the willing consent decan. So those that are evolving, okay, the generation is a generation of people that had Pluto in the middle phase of Scorpio. Okay, well, late 80s. Okay. Pluto was traveling fast with Scorpio. So late 80s people are evolving. And that means that success is something pleasurable. And at the essence of desire, there is a lot of peace. There's a lot of tenderness. There's a lot of... And I say this also for me, because I evolved from the first decan. And tenderness is not something that Scorpio is so familiar with, because Scorpio is about heart condition. It's about toughening up. It's about sometimes going for against, it's resilient, going against for the conditions of nature, pushing through. Okay, think about it. I have Mars 22 degrees Scorpio retrograde, okay? If there is a world cult that needs to be decultified, I tend to that. That's Scorpio. It's a good thing about Scorpio. When it comes to my Pluto, then if I think of anything fungal in my body, anything stagnant in my body, it's because it's like knowledge. But what about pleasure? And you see, I excrete knowledge as I tend to massage my feet and this and that. And there's something that infiltrates for the nervous system that I evolved to embodiment, and I excrete the cult. That's what happens. And so people feel like, I'm thrown into you're not thrown into the trash. You see, if your pleasure is by rape, then you're thrown into the trash, yes. But you see what happened with these people? It's not so. The essence of desire is not so. But everything, the core of the psychological experience has been pulled in one direction, and from the core, that need to evolve and transform. It's a process and it can take years. So, it's everything. For example, I want to tell you something. The jokes that Idun Avot told at the pub when we were sitting, any woman that didn't grow up with a Pluto Sol generation, he was Pluto Virgo, but Pluto Sol generation, any woman would stay the fuck out. She would see, what is these jokes? What is this sexist dumb fuckery? I have an older TA that was afraid nobody would believe me. She said, what happened when I left? What happened between you? A black cat moved between you and Ido. And by the way, in the property area, there was a lot of black cats that I was growing. And I said, well, listen, I don't remember what I said. Then she tells me, I noticed something about his behavior. It's very sexist, very this, very that. I'm like, I was afraid nobody would believe me. But you see, any woman that's not used to that's like used to respectful environment, respectful jokes. I didn't grow up with a sailor dad. I grew up with my mom. She was used to these jokes, and she was okay with this. So she didn't pay attention that something is off, so fucking off that I nearly died. Now, I don't hate on my mom. She would hear on the television, she would say, let's say a president was accused of sexual harassment, say, yeah, she was whore, she was this, she was like, mama, all the things you went through to a workplace that you didn't even work because you didn't want to be sexually harassed by your boss, and you say this. That was the Me Too era. Women themselves had to awaken that she's not the whore that's trying to move up the ladder to the pants. And in fact, when she says no, This is where troubles really start. People feel like it's a crusade. Well, if you win, that means you are a rapist. If you win, you lose. That's the VX. That's the Nikes is the V. Okay, take it from an Israeli. We saw the V's since 2015. I was one voice, Israel and Palestine turned to V15. And they wanted to do a goodbye party to Bibi. I was 12 years old when Yitzhak Rabin was murdered because he wanted peace. Why do you think they want a goodbye party to Bibi? Because if they would allow, Bibi is a Libra, okay? If everything would balance out, he would make peace. He's a liar, he's controlled by his wife, he's a this, he's a that, his son is a whore, beseder, pedo rings, everyone pedo rings, probably also Rabin was pedo rings. Structurally, I don't know. And if not, share the recipe how not to. Now that Maya blocked me, I can speak. So you grow, and you have to take a look at your parents. What were they cool with? And my mama is a feminist. But she wanted to marry someone from another, she looked like movie actress, he looked like movie actor. The car looked with a weird plate, thinking from the UN, somebody broke his jaw once. Why did your father serve in NATO? Yeah, but I know also the secret, right? The things I don't tell you. What's that?
כוסות.
Geen kosot. This I drink. That's it.
אני מפשירה את הפרשת.
Thank you. Anyway. Then when it's time to divorce, it's time to divorce. Don't ask anything financially from you. The child stays in the country where he's right now living, the mother. Where the resident is living is the rules. And it's also... Yeah. But and even that person that was such revolutionary, when it came to the dumb fuckery thingies, it was like, what was the next evolution? Is the willing consent. Okay? We have to deal with our parents. Because our parents, they had no clue for these things. Because if I would stay for the alignment with my mom, then you would double bind. You always are the whore of the city and the one that never gets to have good sex. But you see, nobody gets to have good sex in those situations. And I know that because I make money. I right now know, but I made the money from selling these workshops of how to self-pleasure in a way that is not leading you to be with candida and trauma and all that. So I made money from that, okay? I know for the clients, for all the women, some grew up with it, women, sometimes 60, sometimes 70. I know. Then the men, we had a course on how to please your wife, okay? First of all, the men always wanted to keep private it's like, can you write that it's not written, not this, not that, and they're married, they're not having lover or everything. It's like, no. It's just like it's private. I don't want to know that I take this. There's nothing wrong. You take this course to please your wife. What's the problem? Deepen your relationship. It's better than, for the many other things that people do. They cost them their house. And most of these men, they had a wife. Just like I just want to know how to be a better lover. Yeah, sometimes 40, 50, 60. Why not? It's good. Our parents knew nothing about this. But then you go to the business model. It says cannot be business model where we can buy a house from. It's good teaching. But if I cannot buy a house, or I cannot buy a property, or cannot travel for the selling these things, it means that some other things need to change. Some business model need to change. The other things, I need to ask for more for myself. Otherwise, I'm fooling people. I'm selling something. I cannot sell will and consent. There is success, and not be successful. So I have to tend to all the things around this. And they say the spiritual. Well, what's spiritual? Well, it's giant mass rape, but in the astral. That's what they call spiritual war. As I speak, but they try this again because they don't want you to know about good sex. God forbid. The people try to do the cipher on your energy. Forbid this, forbid that, forbid this, forbid that. Like, okay, but it's not with will and consent. It's not. I'm not going to be successful. Your project is going to tank. You're going to blame me. And it triggers everyone because people have a natural hatred when they see other persons successful, because this is a programming of the cult. Hatred, there is a page called Emotional Dynamics. It will popping up again. She was saying hatred is when all the boundaries are gone and you see somebody getting away with something that you didn't think you could get away from. Now, I think about this cause, you can get away with murder, you can get away with rape, you can get away with this. You're like, yes, you can get away with rape. You're going to grow the fungal everything and your penis going to flop. And you're going to take drugs after drugs after drugs, and then you're going to take a ton of Viagra, then you'll die. Okay? You can get away with that. Yes, jail, you won't be in jail. It's another form of jail. Okay? But what I didn't realize is that what I get away with stirs up the entire cult. But the thing is that you're evolving there. If it triggers you, you're evolving. It's like grow forest, not hatred. They grow 15-minute cities. It's fungal. What did my landlord do in the front yard? He wanted to show power. Because I was growing the yard, I saw that when you grow it naturally, then there is shade for the tomatoes and this and that. It's like, let's just grow naturally. He took everything down, puts artificial grass everywhere, a bowl that I had with some crystals, took it away. The rosemary, he took away the rosemary. I thought I'm going to die when he took away the rosemary. I didn't understand what happened. I come back, it's no rosemary. Who takes down rosemary? That's protecting your property, dumb fuck. First they cut off the trees. Every time cut off the trees. Nothing can grow when you cut off the trees. Your wealth can grow. It's your property. It's your you build this house. The birds don't arrive. You keep the bird. It's kind of like a person supposed to go out of jail, but he cuts the trees. The birds don't arrive. You don't get freedom. When I came to the property, I would sit, look at the trees, and there were birds. Okay, even my enemies like to look at the birds, and they felt free for a while. So, what you put is artificial grass and no water. What happens? What's underneath growing? Mold. You grow toxic mold in your own property. Why? Because he was probably sold that I would be something, or that they would put cameras, that they would make money on this, and now it's all tanking because the V is an X. All you Nikes people with the V, you're marked to death. By the cult, not by me. I'm one person. All I can do is put some essential oil on my toenails and talk. Not too powerful. But I didn't think that for people, it's like, you can get away with that. With what? I just glow? I just am? You can get away with that. Well, the only way for you to get away with that is just be. But it's an evolution. Let's talk about the bumhole. So since we had Pluto's and anus, right? Think about Pluto's essential oil, Scorpio sex organs, Pluto is anus. So when you want to put oil in your anus, okay, just to treat hemorrhage, how do you call it? Or just, to take care of the area. The dilution is a very soft skin, so the dilution is about not more than 1%. You think about a drop in a teaspoon of oil. So, what does it tell you? That when you tend to that scorpionic thing, it's actually tenderness. Now, if you rape people, you understand it's a problem, because you're going to have to clean your own anus. And the dilution is actually the most minimal. You don't need a lot of oil when you, for pleasure your own anus. And you cannot penetrate any anus before you pleasure your own. You won't know how to do that. It's true. Gay sex, straight sex, you won't know how to do it. Even for women, they say, I want to pleasure my husband like this, pleasure my husband like that. Well, pleasure yourself first. What do we understand from the essence of the oil? Is you don't need a lot for this area, in the Scorpio area. You actually need very little. And Scorpio is about minimalism and excretion, right? You need very little, and you feel you have enough. So it's the tenderness is pulling us to the Taurus pole. That's where it stands from. It's something people are not taught. And not only that, because they are raped in the cult, then to rape a woman is okay, to rape a boy is okay, but the God forbid to talk about pleasuring your own anus, because now we have to execrate millennia of traumas, 9 millennia of traumas to be exact. It's not just the Muslims. I like the cistus and lotus. Mm-hmm. The combination of cistus and lotus, I have to admit, I'm very satisfied with. And there's also rosemary here because I put the rosemary. When I worked with rosemary, it reminded me of the Einstein program that I worked with when I was writing. It was red and white. The letters were white and the screen was red. Probably rosy. You see, if you ask me what to do when it seems like everything closing in on you. Because a lot of people feel this way. I know that because they try to make me feel this way. When a person tries to make you feel a certain way, you understand that they are going through this emotionally. So, hone in on something that you do with yourself that you enjoy. And I'm not talking about usually self-pleasure because people won't be able to self-pleasure in this point. For me, it was maybe study a new language, the travel videos of somewhere. If you can, go back to senses with oils, I don't know.
אומרים שהבריחו אותו במטוס, אבל לא בטוח. לא, זה עוד לא... אבל מגיע לו בין חצי מיליון ל-600,000 איש.
מגיע לו? את לא רוצה להיות הומו נוצרי ארמני בסוריה היום.
לא, אני לא רוצה להיות כלום, אני רוצה להיות אני. זהו.
Please, thank you. So they say that he got smuggled? No, please. That he got smuggled by a plane and the plane exploded. I don't know. Ooh, Mercury, Jupiter sign, 11 degree. Leviatur. Okay, this is it's the degree of Uranus. Explosive transportation, big vehicle of transportation that travels, and Mercury in the air, because Jupiter is in an air sign. Yikes. So, going back to essence of desire. What to do when everything closing in on you is to create your own pleasure point, as far as you can. Or it's not necessarily sensual pleasure. It can be learn new language, do something that you like doing, concentrate on that as much as you can. That brings in leverage. You say, oh, Shirley, what your country is, everything is going down the rabbit hole. And I'm saying, okay, this is a good time to oil Uranus. And let's see, sometimes you find solutions. Now, for people that are used to that in the context of, you see how willing, consent-oriented that I am, that I think about it as self-pleasure. Because in my circles, this is something that you do for relaxing for your psyche. If you can get, if you feel like it's still not embodied in the body, then back to the feet. The pinky has something to do with that. If you spread the toes, you can feel the pinky, and then you try to separate the pinky. Now, I might feel it because of Mercury like that, because I have Mercury opposing Pluto, but you want to check for that pinky is associated a little bit with the contracting your anus muscles. So you try to contract these muscles and release. Also, when you do public speech, you contract the anus and release. It's true, it's a technique to gain confidence in speech. I don't know why. Because you're connected to your root. And people that are used to rape people like that, you see they have a deeper job to do. Because they need to reconnect with their own anus. It's more difficult because now they have to face of all they've done. But let's take it from women and vaginas. When women reconnect with their vaginas, they learn to understand that the yeast, it was not just the dairy products. And sometimes it's not the partner that you had sex with. Not everything is to blame of men. How do you masturbate? How do you self-pleasure? What's underneath? Is there anxiety? It's here. So for some women, years upon years. I know some people don't even use oil for when they have vaginal sex for gay penetration, because you see for when the fluids are natural, not in every age, I don't know, okay, but for the younger people, it tells you whether it's readiness or not. Give you all these artificial oils. I'm not talking about, but even essential oils. Okay, you rub your feet, you rub your this. You don't need to use that in that way. Now, people that don't know that, and most people that don't know that, it's like nobody talks about this, right? And if they do, there's always an MK Ultra to take control of things. I had a colleague, she was talking about these things exactly these things. You ask people about the first time, more than half the crowd, well, my first consensual sex was. And then suddenly she have these cam girls that are talking about the experience and this and that. And she's like, I let everyone speak, I let everyone this, I let everyone that. Like, everybody knows this espionage. Infiltrate the course. And when it comes to how you run your business, whether it's the pricing model, whether it's this, whether it's that, then the lady talks to me. She says to me, you see, I teach people about good sex all day. I work from 10 a.m., 10 p.m. in my business, very successful, make a lot of money. But I taught so many women how to have sex. Surely I don't remember last time I touched myself. Now, she is successful, but there's something missing. But success could be better, right? This is why when they say spiritual warfare, I don't say there's spiritual warfare. No, there is mass rape in the astral. If I try to touch myself and I see that something try to enter from my, and I don't like this touch, it's not a loving touch, it's not, because let's be honest, if there was loving that this, I was like, where is it coming from? Oh, that's that. Okay. This is what they call spirit. When people say they're spiritual, nobody understands what you're talking about. There's mass rape going in the astral. People try to pleasure themselves. Now, all these things that only people that were targeted individuals experience, satanic ritual abuse survivors experience, now people experience en masse. It's horrible that they experience it en masse. For us that experienced it before that, we're like, oh, now they understand what we're talking about. Now we can explain to them and they understand. But it's like, it's terrible that it has to be this way. Because it's such tremendous isolation. And then you realize your favorite celebrities, your favorite, okay, of people, of business people or politicians, like you feel like they understand it, they go through this. So if you don't talk about this, then it's going to be remaining something you don't talk about. Nothing going to get resolved. Nobody's going to understand anybody. And we'll keep having the paradigms that never brought us anywhere. Okay, giving Tamaguchi to women that escape violence and say, we'll give you a dog. Well, where's the house? How will I take my dog 3 times on a walk if I don't have housing for the dog? What about the yard? Because when you go through this, you have sometimes a fibromyalgia, inflammation, because you need to retrieve your movement and to be believed and to release that, and you need a big yard for the dog to run around. People grew up in this slavery cults, then it's a giant process. And also to have antidote for all the things that they do, okay? Because they take everything and invert it. And everything is disgusting. Sex is disgusting. Love is disgusting. I sometimes see even people, faces of celebrity people, I see them, I look to the eyes. You see a person emotional, sometimes you see disgust. They look at the world in disgust. I know this disgust. Thank you. So that was waking up to the sunrise and learning to absorb the sun. And Pluto is the purging of that which was not allowing us to shine. And as you can see, the themes are pretty fucking intense. You deal with Pluto Sol, you deal with it on a world level. It's not just a personal level. And you see that Nike thing is a global. The V to the X, the divide and conquer and destroy all population, including the clones, the this, the that, whatever, elite, reptiles, whatever you want, people. people that could grow up in settings of torture from the womb. So yes, when people ask for the traitor, yes, the traitor is the rapist. But more so, let's put on some mint, some Archangel Michael. Let's close this up with mint. Now, of course, I have my own technique. I know what I'm doing. You dilute the oils. Sometimes if people blend a couple of oils, put in one bottle. Yes. If it's nothing better to do, then do that. If you have a little more time, extensively do what I do. And you take each oil, dilute it a little, and put that, and then another, and then another. And you change for the order of the oils. Now I feel the mint. Powerful, powerful oil. Immediately I need to go to the bathroom. It's awareness. That I used to mark my things when I was in between houses. Powerful, fresh. Archangel Michael. Really love this oil. Feel it all the way to the lungs. Strong awareness of truth. Okay, it's the oil of truth. Boundary setting. Very powerful, powerful oil. It's a bit cooling effect. This is oil you don't put around infants because it can freeze their breathing and kill them. Very intense. I need to buy Lanky Lang next month. It's very, very intense. And you see, just to take the time for you, because I woke up from attempts to rape me. That's what I did with that. To be even more powerful in my body and to decodify the dumb fuckery. It's facing a lot, it brings up a lot. And for some people it looks like they're in a deep well and they're looking at another person smiling. Pluto can also be something to do with projection. You want to be very cautious before you say projection. You authentically look what's in there. Okay? It can simply be one person is in the depth of the well, another person is shining. And they try to knock for the person that's shining down to the depth of the well rather than evolve. It's a very tough combination. But there are people that live with that, depending on what you have to remedy that. To put it in Gilt Wilder's logic, if you are in 24/7 jail and somebody can walk 24/7 in and out of home and supposedly not work, and what is done about it is cameras on that person, they can't have self-pleasure without people peeping in and trying to this and that, so it's a different type of lack of freedom. If that was not done on that person, there would be less necessity in the 24/7 imprisonment conditions. And it's not about cause and effect, it's not what one is doing to another. It's a situation. But that situation is balanced. But one person is more out of jail, and the other person is safe to be even naked in their own porch. Why not? You want to pay attention to the polarities that happen there. The Masons work on a teeter-tatter. One time you're up, one time you're down. One time you're slave, one time you're enslaving, if they even teach that. But the equilibrium, the dynamic balance, is not one time you're a slave, one time you're... It's a dynamic balance. Think about Aquarius, it's a more decentralized, a chaotic system. One time you tend to the other person's needs, one time you tend to your person's needs. It's way more pleasant than what they paint it to be when it's healthy. They also try, if people try to balance by raping, then first of all they are exposed. We cannot invade without being invaded, as Netherlands. They didn't listen to the women watchers, 7th October. They mistreated for people that went to sexual assault. They tied them up and called them crazy and put them in a lock. Palestine, Gaza. They did the genitalia mutilation in some tribes. Can't go. Some tribes, not all. Child brides, Mormons. Hans Amendma lost his nationality for speaking up. It took some years. Netherlands. Now that's all transformable. But better per se, you're sitting on the willing consent factor. Oh, the taste of mint. It reminds me of Netherlands. I used it in Netherlands. When you try to silence and oppress women or the voices of people, not only they will have, oh, let me tell you about my colleague, Chris Brennan. Chris Brennan, I say it like that. He was targeted individual because he had astrology podcast. He can't say that, he can't respond to that because the dumb fucks in the United States with the MK Ultra got to astrology. And Chris Brennan did an astrology podcast. All Hellenistic astrology I know is from him and from Victor. So I'm not a Hellenistic astrology, but I use some techniques. Right? If somebody's spreading good information, the mint oil, then I use it, right? Give credit, of course. And suddenly he had COVID. Such hard case of COVID. And he took, of course, all the boosters. That he found it more difficult to speak. They wanted to take away his voice. Pluto entered Aquarius. He finds it difficult to speak, but he has friends that speak as well. He used to do 3-4 hour videos. 7-8 hours now. Dumb fucks. Back at you. So you see, don't try to take the voice of a person, man or woman. For this would only amplify the voice deep in the inside. And if you can't listen to them, prolong your suffering. Yes, no, and maybe is a part of the voice. That's Tom Jacobs of ddjacobs.com and healingsuicide.com. Need I say more? Like, isn't the introduction enough? Now, this is the time where we get to build structures, where we can say yes, no, and maybe, and that being respected regardless of gender, sex, culture, orientation, religion, whatnot. Every person at every level of their own, where they're coming from, can tend to the point of interferences for their own success. I don't know if maybe some of you are looking at me from the deep depth of the well, but you don't understand your power with Pluto, especially before 40. They say life begins at 40 for a reason, because you don't understand your power. You don't understand that your voice has an impact. Sometimes you see that something backfires. When I wrote Sugar-Free Lemonade, I thought nobody reads it. Then I had 3 lawsuits inside the university. It was on February the 14th, Valentine's Day, where I settled with the ladies. And it was the ladies. I was like, ladies, why are you doing the job for the men? I just want to get my name. I don't know, darling. If you had a hand in it, your name is not out of it. But on Valentine's Day, everything was set. with the ladies. The gent is bombing in Den Haag right now with a fellow psychologist that wanted to be worse than Ido Nevo. The name Itamar Yaron, so he gets to have his 15 minutes of fame as well, before the V turns into an X. So you see, until about the sugar-free lemonade, it was like, I had no idea, but like, entire university it got to that. Okay? Don't put people in a position where they're powerless. And when you disrespect somebody's will and consent, they're powerless. You put them in powerless position. And you do that usually because you don't understand your power. That's the essence of it. You don't understand your voice has power. You say something has power. I know that when it comes to what is cults, then, let's talk about girls. A girl in a culty cult, okay, she puts on a picture, all the girls like, you look so lovely, you look so lovely, you look so lovely, go about the day. A girly girl starts a business, okay, some nails or something, I don't know. And I'm not being sexist. It's genuine examples from genuine lives of people. If I could do well with manicure, if I would enjoy doing manicure to people, I would be running a business right now. Then the MK Ultra would try to recruit me to espionage. It's another thing. But and you think it's all these girly girls? They don't know. No. They're espionage. They know. They know what's on. They talk to people. They know what's on. Okay. If I go to do a pedicure, you think it's only women there? No, it's Tel Aviv. Women, men. I try not to look at the feet of the men because mine look worse. Okay? And why not? We should take care of ourselves. But the thing is, she runs a business, okay? All the girlfriend pop up the business page. Does somebody buy anything? Maybe one. So now I have a business with all of that. Now when you're not in that cult, then you have this one page, okay? Very good. It's defending, it's telling someone not to touch. Okay. So once in a couple of days, somebody comes and threatens to slaughter somebody. I'm recording. You're not talking about lemon when I talked about sugar-free lemonade. Oh my God. The omens in here. My mom literally asked for a lemon. That was very literal. So you see, until I wrote the sugar-free lemonade, I didn't think my voice has any power because my nose was disrespected. So for some of you, it's about understanding that your voice or what you say, it's not about, oh my God, this is the power of the voice, I have to have responsibilities. No. We need to express ourselves. But it's about understanding that your voice, your story, your shine has an impact on people. It stays with people. It affects people. And usually it will be outside for the circles that you usually used to. When I started doing podcasts and I interviewed people, before that, I didn't know anything and there were maybe 14 views. Okay, I talked to someone. It's like, oh my God, I like your podcast because I'm sick of having to hear the same people. I like these people, but I want something different. And I'm like, oh my God, you are one of the 14. professional astrologers. Okay, I cannot compete with their knowledge. Then another telling me, oh my God, you've been so inspiring for how you keep working on it, keep working on your success, keep working on this, keep working on that. I'm like, oh my God, you're one of 14. Person is a giant mega empire, musician, astrologer, working in academia, okay, advancing BIPOC community. There's a ton of things. I was like, oh my God, these people listen to me? Oh my God. And I would never know that someone sounded so cold. So you think, oh, this channel is doing this or that. Who listened to that? People also listen in incognito sometimes, especially if they're intelligence or double agents. Yeah, I would get feedback for my podcast when I would walk in the street. I wrote something on Facebook, somebody addresses that, a social engineer. And you know they don't address it directly, so it takes time. And I'm like, okay, at least write a like, smiley, something. Support the algorithm. I wrote about the call to send some guy with the thing that Beyonce makes with the hands, for this look like a zero shape. I interact with them because who will I speak with? But sometimes you're sitting in the bottom of the well and you're like, well, you don't understand what is going on. You don't think your voice has any impact. You don't think your voice has any power. And it makes you speak even more, right? So now it's like, it doesn't matter what I said. Let's talk about everything. And acknowledging for the power, you see that when you see the restrictions, if you're shadow banned, if you're cancelled, you understand. Sometimes it's about, okay, when too many people tell you that you're drunk, it's time to close the bar. But sometimes it is about, no, you need to put a voice out there to have a real conversation. Okay? Talk about another willing consent issue is the Me Too. First of all, it was MK Ultra. And secondly, it's not about the cancelling. It's about at first you give the voice to speak, and the voice would say, but the Me Too, but the this, but the that, but the that, but the that. And it's like, okay, now that you vented, here is the road to actually get success. I can't be on that road when people are constantly trying to block things and frustrate me. But if I come to you to try to block things and frustrate me, and I say to you, here is road for success. If only I work at this road and you constantly putting bricks on, then it's going to be taking down the Berlin Wall. Eventually, that's what will be, okay? But in the meantime, it's like, I'm not fully successful, you're not fully successful. I'm not fully seen, because if I showed them myself and it would be viral, then there's a ton of people who are not at all ready to hear the message. You're not fully seen because you're double agent, and for every time you express yourself, there's another activity that you do that the very people that could listen to you are targeted individuals with a spiritual mass rape. Okay. Some things I can talk about because you come from an incest cult. What does it mean about, I don't know. Maybe not in your generation, maybe generation before that. Right? Generations before that. Okay? But it's a double bind where if I, God forbid, say something, then, because there's emotions involved, there's a lot of intricacy with these things. It's also, it's not for me to speak about, it's another, but if I don't say that, then I didn't, then why don't I talk about it? I talk about everything, why don't I talk about it? The one thing I know and have been through is the part of the process where tenderness is triggering. And you have to be with that trigger and move at your own pace. But a part of that triggering, if you are at the bottom of the well, is some fresh water has been coming from. You turn to see, who is this? And then they're like triggering every single thing that you've gotten used to, because you've gotten used to that pollution. Think about the lotus flower, it grows in a swamp. Two things grow. I need to try lotus and eucalyptus, because eucalyptus grows in a swamp. Wait, I have. It dries up the swamp. Lotus, it just shines in it. You maybe were used to being a lotus flower, but you don't even know it maybe. Because you were in a freaking swamp of dumb fuckery, and you haven't lost your shine, okay? Oh, that's the sisters one. That was just the lotus one. So first of all, the sisters, because have to. This is the good have to. I must do this. I have to do this. That's the good Pflicht. You're so passionate about doing something. It's like, I have to do this. That's the good have to. This is the good Saturn. But thank you. Oh my God. This is delicious. Oh. And then, let's try the eucalyptus with the lotus. Yes. Thank you. The eucalyptus with the lotus. I've got to go to the airport. Yeah. I'm weird, I know. This is the lotus. Very tender. We're going to use for the eucalyptus. Fantastic. Because both of them grow in swamps. Eucalyptus is about space, lotus is about your shine and psychic protection and many things. But what happens when the water begins to freshen up? You wonder if you wouldn't be able to shine in fresh water. Don't worry about it. That's the thing. Okay? That's the thing. Now space, let's talk about space. Eucalyptus tree grows with space. Also lotus, they're not too crumbed. But eucalyptus is particular about that. space for the flowers to grow. Okay? If women don't have space, even though they shine in the swamp, then men don't have space. In fact, they usually are cramped in concentration camps. And I'll end with that.